All right, Kyle. So Avs play 2 games against Arizona. First one, they win. Not the best. Second one looked much better. The sequel was better than the original. Basically, is the best way to look at it. What's the best sequel ever made?
Oh, Terminator. Terminator 2.
T2 is a very good. I remember seeing that in the movie theater, and that was, I mean, it's no Son of the Mask, but it's still very, very good. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. Joining me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. And you are wearing a green shirt. I mentioned Son of the Mask, and you are wearing a green shirt. I mean, it's not like we totally did not plan that one. Guaranteed did not plan that.
No.
Yeah. So what's going on, everybody? Thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciated. Follow the show on social media outlets, LOPN_Avalanche on Twitter, Locked On Avalanche, Instagram, questions, comments, concerns to lockedonavalanche@gmail.com, and follow the show on our YouTube channel over on the YouTube. Subscribe and get notified when new episodes go live. So over the weekend, Avs pick up all 4 points, both against Arizona. One game in Ball Arena, that was on Friday. Following game on Saturday in Arizona. It was a tale of 2 games. You get the overtime game, or overtime, and then the shootout. Avs' first shootout of the season, I believe. Right? No. They had one other one because Cale Makar had a shootout goal. I don't remember
against Tampa.
Was it? Yeah, was it Tampa?
I believe it was.
I'll have to go look. I'm just thinking off the top of my head. I can't remember the team, but now I do remember that they had one other shootout. But they come through on that, and those can go either way, obviously.
Mhm.
And then following day in Arizona really kind of took care of business, and a 5-0 win. Darcy Kuemper with his first shutout of the season. That I know for sure, that was his first shutout of the season. So yeah, kind of like this Jekyll and Hyde, but you get the same results in both, which is good. But when you're playing a team like Arizona, you want to have that 5-0 game both times. Was the first game more the Avs not playing up to their standard and playing maybe down to the standard of Arizona? Or do you have to give some credit to Arizona in that first game for kind of holding them and keeping them in check and kind of being in the game?
No, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's the Avalanche. It's what they do. They kind of play down and take advantage of not having to play so hard. Credit to Arizona. It's a bad team, bad record. They took advantage of it, and they made it a fight. Of course, the Avalanche took it the distance, and Nas had to take care of business in the end.
God, that was sick. That was a sick move.
That the Avalanche playing down to the opponent almost bit him there. But the second game, business was taken care of.
I think maybe the worst thing for the Avalanche to do was take a 2-0 lead right off the bat in the first game. Yeah. Because you're obviously going up against a lesser team, and you get 2 goals. Who were they here? Mikko Rantanen and Tyson Jost. And you're like, maybe the Avs are like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to go. And they were flying all over the place. They were controlling the game, and then Arizona climbs back into it, and they take a lead. Mm-hmm. Even when they took that lead, were you thinking to yourself like, oh, are they really going to beat us? I didn't, and I'm not trying to sound like crass or anything, or like I just had confidence that the Avs were like, guys, really?
Yeah.
Can we turn up the juice a little bit? And then it was like 30 seconds later, Burakovsky tied it.
Yeah, when they went up 2-0, you almost had the feeling like they were on the bench talking like, if we keep scoring goals, the game's going to go later to get to Arizona, 3 a.m. check-in. Like, they didn't want, like, it after they went up, their minds were already the plane ride. They were kind of looking ahead a little bit.
You think so? Like,
I think
that in the game?
Like, you take your foot off the gas. It's Arizona. Like, it's one of those typical, like, do what you got to do, pucks in deep, cycle, clean shifts, no penalties. You go in there, do what you do. You don't really have to game plan or take people out of the game. Yeah. And they took their foot off the gas, and it's something they've done before.
I mean, you can say that they took the foot off the gas a little bit, but they still had almost 50 shots on goal. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? You're not really taking the foot off the gas if you're still just peppering them with shots. So 47 shots on goal. You went 0 for 5 on the power play.
Yeah.
That to me is where this game could have been put away easily. You get 2 of those. If you can give me 2 out of 5, then it's a 6-3 game, and don't allow one of those goals from the Coyotes. Maybe it's a 6-2 game. So that to me is where that's what kept Arizona in this game. And if Arizona didn't go 0 for 4 for themselves on the power play, if you're an Arizona fan, you're thinking the same thing. If we can get even half of those, they possibly win this game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you can say maybe the Avs took the foot off the gas a little bit after they got that 2-0 lead, but Arizona got one back right before the first was over. So I don't think the Avalanche came out thinking like, yeah, we're just going to skate around and just come to us easily. I think they knew like, hey, let's just put this team away. And they were trying. 47 shots on goal is definitely trying. I got to give credit to who was their goalie that night. I can't even pronounce his last name.
I know.
He's like their third or fourth.
Yeah,
he made some solid saves. He looked pretty good for a third or fourth string.
Yeah, and I think the overall tone of that first game is just there was no sense of urgency. Like there was no like the little carrot at the end of it, like if you win this, you move up this, and then you're putting them out of here, and then or you're trying to come back from there. So there was no alternate storyline to the game other than win the game, move on, like lunch pail mentality. So it definitely felt that way. And then of course it turned into a shooting barrage, but like there was just no urgency to finally put it away until they were from behind and didn't want to get embarrassed.
Right. And I would say there wasn't even, I don't, maybe urgency is the wrong word, but even when they got down, I think that's, it wasn't like, wow, we're going to lose this game. It was, they were calm. They were calm about it. Like, we know we're better than this team. So let's just get back to basics, get back to what we do well. And we keep shooting shots on 47 shots. And if that guy was going to let in 2, then they deserve to win.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen. An Arizona team, when you throw 47 shots on that, they're going to let in at least 4. And you know, well, they let in 3, and then the Avs get the fourth one in the shootout, obviously.
And it definitely makes you feel better about the Avalanche, even kind of in that without that sense of urgency. If they're piling up the shots, eventually something's going to go in. The Wayne Gretzky quote, like you miss 100% of shots you don't take.
Right.
Like to see the Avs still out there shooting and Arizona doing the same and testing Pavel Francouz the way they did. It was good to see. And I think it's better to look back at knowing we walked out with a W.
Yeah. And, you know, we had talked about who's going to start game 1 and game 2, and you hit it. Francouz gets the start in game 1, and Kuemper goes back to Arizona and for game 2. So the shootout, you know, 1 goal went in. That was it. It was the very last one in round 3, and Nazem Kadri. And I loved that he put him out there because he's not a guarantee to go out there for penalty shots. You know, you're going to get Mikko, you know, to get Nate. And one time, like I said, he put in Cale Makar. You could see Burakovsky out there. You know, you have a lot of talent at your disposal and scorers at your disposal. And I think there was one reason and one reason only he went to Nazem Kadri, and it was just to let everybody know. And it was just so poetic that he actually scored it.
Yeah.
Because then it's just like, hey, that guy that you didn't let into the All-Star game yet, I know it's just a penalty shot or whatever, shootout, but it was a thing of beauty. Pulled that thing on a string and had the very little between the goalie skate and the post, and he slid it right in there.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
and just the celly to follow everything was just, it was one of those moments that you're like, okay, we must put him in at all costs.
Yeah, you knew they were going to do it. So we will continue the weekend for the Avs. Kind of went a little bit heavy on the Friday game, so let's talk about the Saturday game. But first, we're going to hear from Built Bar. It's a new year and a new you, so that means New Year's resolutions, and hopefully yours is still going. So if yours is about getting fit or eating healthier, you must include Built Bar in your plan. Built Bar is the protein bar that tastes like a candy bar, maybe even better than a candy bar. Built Bars make it easy to stick to your New Year's resolution because it tastes so good. You want to eat them up like I don't know, what's a character, a cartoon character that eats something like
Cookie Monster eats a lot of things.
Oh, dude. Oh my God. Cookie Monster go crazy for Built Bars. Yeah. You want to eat healthy, but it just gets so boring by week 3 or like right around now. You're thinking this is just not worth it. Where's the chocolate? Well, Built Bars are covered in 100% chocolate. Most bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams of sugar, 4 grams of net carbs, and 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which usually has around 240 calories, 30 grams of sugar, and dozens of carbs. So go to builtbar.com right now. Use the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off on your order. That's builtbar.com. Promo code is LOCKED15, 15% off. Once again, builtbar.com. All right. Before we move any further, we have 2 birthdays that we need to talk about. One of them is Mr. Kyle Sullivan. So a happy birthday to our co-host here.
Thank you.
That one doesn't even matter.
Nope.
We have a fan of the show who is, by all accounts, driving to the arena as we are speaking right now. They are listening to this episode as we are speaking. And I'm bringing up the note. This is from, I don't even know if this is was it Sheffy 31? Yeah, Sheffy 31. So he wrote to Kyle, and he wanted to let us know that his son Gage, it's his birthday. It's his 12th birthday. And is it the first Avalanche game that they're going to?
Yeah.
Or that he's going to? That
he's going to see the Wild.
All right, man. So, you have Kyle's birthday. You have Gage's birthday. It's his first Avalanche game. Bet online because you listen to this show. I mean, put it in the book. This is as solid as a guaranteed win as you can have.
I hear you, Gage. Birthday bro. Going to go see the Wild today. Let's go get it, man.
That's awesome. So a big happy birthday to Mr. Kyle Sullivan, obviously, and a bigger happy birthday to Gage, who's on his way to the game right now. Enjoy it, man. And hopefully they can get a win for you on your birthday. And maybe you can get a puck or a stick or any of that good stuff too. So happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
All right. So game 2, this was more of what we wanted to see. And, let me get into the stats here. I think both games really, like, you're starting to see Nathan MacKinnon just really get settled in and start taking over.
Yeah.
This is, we talked a lot about how he was a little bit more reserved and a little bit more looking to facilitate more. And now he's coming out of that and he's like, I'm taking stuff over, guys. So man, like, you it's almost like you forgot about him because he was just getting a ton of assists and Cale Makar's doing what he's doing. And he's almost just coming out of this saying, like, it's almost like when Michael Bublé comes out of the cave to sing Christmas music. It's like, here's Nathan MacKinnon. Oh yeah. Don't forget about him.
Yep. And that first goal, I mean, it wasn't just a goal. The way he just did the little toe dragging and the handles to get that goal, he had zero doubt in his mind that he was scoring that goal. And he made everybody remember, oh yeah, Nathan MacKinnon can still do this. And it's nice to see him step up and bookend the game with that goal at the end. And you see Mikko stepping up as well. And my boy Nas right in the middle. So, I mean, that second game was the scoring from who you expect to score. Yeah. And they were authoritative goals, every one of them.
I'm looking at times on ice. This is pretty impressive. Everybody had at least 11 minutes with time on ice. There was no Curtis McDermott with 3 minutes. He had almost 12. Abe Kubel had the least at 11. So, I mean, that's just, and when you have a lead, you're going to rotate shifts equally. You know what I mean? You don't need to keep McDermott on the bench when you have a lead like that. But it was only 1-0 after the first. And I think some people, if you're following on like Twitter and stuff like that, people are getting like upset. Like, just let the game play out. I get like, yeah, you beat this team in a shootout, and you're barely beating them. You have one goal after one, and it's like, oh my god, is this like how good are we really? And it's like, that's why you play a full 60-minute game.
Yep.
You don't decide a game after 20 minutes, because then adjustments are made. And look what the Avalanche did. I don't even know if they had to make adjustments, because they were playing very well. I wasn't upset with how they were playing. And then they come out and they get the 3 goals. Mikko, Naz, and Mikko again. And then you just feel like that was more of a game that when you're playing a team like that, that's what I wanted to see against Seattle. Really wanted to see against Seattle.
Absolutely. And like the names performing, like they're not one of those that like Nate, Mikko, and Naz are in the background. You have like JT Compher and Abe Kubel out there scoring, and or the night that like Berkey carried us the whole way. Like these are the names, the household names, taking it to the house and dominating that game, especially in the second and third. And you could tell like it took the energy out of the sails of the Coyotes, because they towards the end of it, they just wanted it to be over.
Well, and how much of it do you think the difference between game 1 and game 2 was Gabe Landeskog? I mean, he came back. He only had an assist, but he's that presence. He's that presence not only just on a 5-on-5 in the net front, but on the power play. And they went 1 for 3 on the power play. So they did a better job. I mean, at least they got one. And they still held Arizona to nothing, 0 for 2 on the power play. So,
well, what naturally you have to chalk it up to the altitude. Come on, Chris.
Of Arizona?
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, the altitude is such a big game changer for game 1 and game 2. So,
yeah, the altitude and the dry heat of Arizona.
No, but really Gabe Landeskog's one of those that it changes everything that you know. Like you don't know if he's going to hang 2 goals on you, get in front of your goalie, start a fight, or he's just facilitating. He can tackle the game in so many different ways, or he can be completely just out of the picture and just kind of managing from the line and passing.
And even when he's doing that, the defense has to know where he is.
Yep.
So with that whole top line, you have to know where they are. So
and when that top line's together, you have to take notice and you have to change what you do. And they don't have the talent to match with that top line.
And there was one time where MacKinnon was kind of on his own on the left-hand side, bringing it up the boards, and there were 3.5, it seemed like, Arizona defenders. There's one guy creeping up, and they were just like encircling him because they were terrified that he was going to just do a burst of speed down the side and get past them. And then the Cale Makar hit was awesome. It was by the phrasing of clean, it was very clean. He wasn't going for the head, and I don't think he tried to crush the guy. Like he hit him solid, he hit him good, he hit him clean. And then Arizona didn't like it, and I get a little annoyed when a team just wants to fight somebody because they got embarrassed. Like, don't get embarrassed, go play. Go get back at them by scoring a goal or something.
Exactly.
Like that. But I get there's going to be chirping going on, but if they were going to retaliate on Makar, number one, the Avalanche will not stand for that, and Curtis McDermott will feel the wrath of him. That's the one good thing he can do for us.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just I get it. It's more embarrassment than anything else. But that is what Cale Makar can do, and we talk all the time about his offensive ability, and everybody wants to say he's a Norris Trophy winner because of his offense. No, Norris is for best defenseman. And you take the offensive capabilities into that. But that is what he can do. That is not oh my God, where'd this come from, Cale Makar? He can lay you flat out if he wants to, and he will size you up, and he will not hesitate to do it.
Yeah, he's like a transformer. Like, you're so accustomed to him looking like a semi-truck, and then just all of a sudden he'll turn into a transformer. He's Optimus Prime. And then he will put somebody on the ice and go right back to his normal form, and you're just kind of looking at him like, okay, sure. I got you, fam.
And dude, that baby face, you're like, he's not going to hit anybody. He's not going to. And oh no, and the chirping that went on from his end back again, it's like you just look at him and like he's just a solid, gifted hockey player. And we've said it before. He's got a tude to him.
Yeah.
Don't mess with Kale.
No.
My boy. All right. Big game coming up tonight for the Avs. Minnesota Wild come to town. So let's talk about them. But first, we're going to talk about Bet Online. The playoffs are here, man. I mean, we watched some games today. I watched bits and pieces, but all I know is the Cowboys lost because that's all anybody wants to talk about whenever they lose. I don't really care. But it seems like the sports world is happy that the Cowboys are not in it if you're not a Cowboy fan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
the world is right.
Yeah. So if you want to get in on some of that action, was there a lot of 49er fans out there putting some scratch down on their team over on betonline.ag? You are all winners. So BetOnline remains the number one spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. It's a new year and a new updated desktop and mobile website. When you sign up today, you'll receive a 50% bonus on your first deposit. Just use the promo code LOCKEDON. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. It's where the game starts. That's betonline.ag. Okay, so Minnesota Wild, kind of cooling off a little bit. They had a really hot start to the season, and I had done a crossover with Seth before the season even started. He hosts Locked On Wild, and that was a concern for him. Like, can this team replicate what they did last year? And the concern, and he said it flat out, the concern is it's obviously a longer season, and you're playing teams outside of your division.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, a team like Minnesota, who kind of, I don't want to say came out of nowhere, but probably surprised people that they were above the wild card spot. A lot of people thought they were going to be fighting for that wild card spot. They were fighting for a 1 and 2 seed in the division for most of it. So when I talked to him about that and said, is that the expectation now? He's like, well, yeah, I mean, expectations are always high, but it will be interesting to see what this team does over the course of an 82 game season when you're playing the entirety of the NHL. And I think we're seeing a little bit of that now. I mean, they've come back down to earth a little bit, but still a very good, talented team. And when you have a guy like Kaprizov on your team, that's like having a MacKinnon on your team. That's like having a McDavid on your team. You always need to be aware of someone like him because he can turn the tide at the snap of a finger.
And now they have Boldy and Rossi, members of the team as well. And so this is going to be a different look of the Minnesota Wild than what we saw earlier in the year. So with Rossi, Boldy, Kaprizov, dangerous team. And this is a young team. And you kind of wonder, like, the success they had earlier this year, especially coming off of how they finished last year. They run the risk of like peaking too early, like their complete rebuild of buying out the expensive contracts and committing to this rebuild. You almost hope they don't peak too early because they're like how we talk about Detroit. Minnesota's also going through a youth movement and they're getting very dangerous very quick. And so I'm very interested to see how our young talent for the Avs handle the Minnesota Wild at 3:00 Eastern, by the way.
1 o'clock Mountain. Yeah, that's a good start time. I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
it's fine with me. I'm looking at Rossi. He's only played twice, and so he just came up. They must have just pulled him up. Obviously, not that long ago, but
yeah.
And
I believe Boldy scored in his first game with the Wild.
Really? He's got 2 goals on the season. So, yeah, I don't know if it was two in the same game. How many has it got total? He's got 3 games played, so maybe it's spread out. I don't know. But, yeah, no, they have talent. They're a talented team. And, you got Kaprizov, 42 points on the season in 33 games. Matt Zuccarello just keeps plugging along for some reason. I remember when they signed him, people just thought they spent too much money on him. And maybe it still is, but, hey, he's got 30 points in 28 games.
Yeah.
So he's another, and he's little. He's tough to find on the ice. And Ryan Hartman Hartman was a guy that is up for the 11th man for the NHL, and he's not going to get that because Naz has got that in the bag, baby.
You betcha.
But anyway, they have good talent.
Mm-hmm.
I think some people were not sure what the Wild were going to do because they didn't really have they had an eventful offseason in that they got rid of guys.
Yeah,
didn't really bring anybody in that was like a wow factor, but they're there. And whenever these two guys get together, the Avs and the Wild, it is going to be a good game. So this is not something that you're going, even though the Wild, let me see what their last 10 are, but they're not playing like they were at the beginning of the year. You're not going into this game like you were the two against Arizona by any stretch of the imagination. Mm-hmm. Like even when the Wild are performing like Arizona, if the Wild are performing like Arizona does, it kind of gets thrown out the window because it just seems like these two teams have each other's number.
And the thing with the perception of the Avalanche and the Wild, outside, like if you're not affiliated with these two squads, like Darcy Kuemper and Cam Talbot, that's not a matchup that like sells anybody. And that's what everybody's so unsure of. Like these are very talented teams with very incredible wings, very good decors. But when you hear Cam Talbot is going to be in goal, you can't really get fired up about that because you've seen Cam Talbot literally everywhere. He's a jersey collector. So you don't know what to expect. And when the Wild go through these ups and downs, it's pointing at Talbot. But when they go back up, it's pointing at the youth. So you can't have it both ways. And the Avs run into that as well. When we talk about our goalies, like the unproven Frankie and Kuemper, when he's hot, but we don't like to give him credit for it. So I can understand the perception on it both ways. And I would like to see how both of these teams face up with the Avalanche really catching their stride right now, coming off 2 wins in a row. Can they keep it going against Minnesota?
If Avs win in regulation, they will be up 7 points on Minnesota in the standings. Minnesota will have a game in hand, but that's a good distance between them, and they are a streaky team. And I'm just looking at their last handful of games. They won 8 in a row. They followed that up by losing 5 in a row. And a lot of that was there's a lot of postponed games in between that 5-game losing streak. So it's like, you play a game, it's canceled. You play another game, and then there's 2 canceled. And then you play a game, and another one's canceled. And even in this now they have a 3-game winning streak where 2 games were postponed in the middle of that. So they're like everybody else where games are getting postponed left and right. But it seems to have affected them to, their flow. And they just couldn't get, they couldn't get a string of games going. And it chalked up to 5 losses in a row. And that's the reason that they're in the position that they are, 4th in the division with 46 points. Their last 10, they're 5-4-1. You look at the Avalanche last 10, they're 8-1-1. So teams, I don't want to say are going in like different directions, but it seems it could be at the start of that. It seems, Minnesota is hanging on, and they are, so I said that, they got 46. They're 3 points behind St. Louis.
Yeah.
So they got to stop this bleeding now, and here you go, have some Avalanche to try to do that.
At probably one of the worst parts of the season, with Nashville catching fire, with St. Louis starting to, get it back together and start to quietly climb up and hold where they are. Minnesota falling where they are right now. It's a rough time to do it, and this would be a perfect way to push Minnesota even farther down. The Avalanche have a chance to really hurt Minnesota's chances when it comes to the playoffs.
And Minnesota's kind of in the same position Colorado is. Like, they have games in hand. Mm-hmm. They have 5 games in hand against Nashville, and they have 4 against St. Louis. So it's not doom and gloom. I'm not trying to make it seem like it is, but you just look at their last collection of games, and it's a roller coaster for them. So where they're going to go is still kind of up in the air. When you look at their special teams, well, first of all, they're giving up just over 3 goals a game, which is 20th in the league. And we know what the Avalanche can do. They can score. They are scoring 3.68. Not bad. The power play, they are 17%, which is 23rd. So bottom end of the league for that. and the penalty kill is at 80%. That's right smack dab in the middle. So if you can get on a power play for the Avs, maybe you can break through. And the thing for the Wild is they've struggled on their own power play for the past couple of years. So both of those things, I think, favor the Avalanche going into this thing.
Especially, like, if you look, the Avalanche are number 9 in the league on the power play.
As bad as they've been lately, they're still number 9.
And that's something to think about. And what a great opportunity to solidify that, if not climb, and get the power play really going. Then against Minnesota, a rival. I think that's a focus in this game, what they do on the power play and how they could take advantage of it. Because we should have against Arizona, and we left a goose egg in game 1. Like, you need to do it against Minnesota.
I think it's going to be a good one. It always is. You're not going to get a 5-0 shutout like you did last time. This. I think the Avs, any given game for the Avs, they can score 5-6 goals. So that's not out of the realm of possibility. But I think you're going to see a drag down, knockout, Avalanche Wild game again.
Bring it on.
Look forward to this one. Very much so. All right. Well, Kyle and I will be back tomorrow to talk about it, break it all down, see how it goes. Hopefully the Avs can get 2 more. But for now, that's going to wrap it up. So thank you for making this your first listen of the day. Check out Locked On NHL for your second listen of the day. Get caught up on everything going on around the league. And yeah, that'll do it, man. So happy birthday to you. Once again, happy birthday to Gage out there. Enjoy the game, my man. And we will be talking about it tomorrow. He is Mr. Kyle Sullivan, Shaggy Von Doom. I am Chris Mastelli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, and we will see you guys tomorrow.